everybody, welcome back. We went on a really fun hike the other day over in Granite Falls, Washington. It was called Lime Kiln Trail, if I'm saying that right. It used to be a trail, I think from the 1880s to the 1930s, where they would transport lime after it had been smolted, whatever the word is, into, I guess, like more of a usable like material. I have no idea, honestly, but the trail was really cool, and you could kind of feel that history as you were walking through, where it just feels like a trail that has been heavily traveled, but it was beautiful and had some really fun components to it, like half broken down bridges and I guess things that not everyone would deem fun, but I thought it was pretty fun. So Ty and I went into the hike thinking we were going to do the entire thing. I think it's 3.3-ish miles one way, and so we ended up hiking. We estimated around, I want to say like 1.8 to something miles, and then we got to the point where we weren't seeing any more signs, and we were nervous that we had gone too far, and just had been seeing a lot of people with kind of backpacking bags and started freaking ourselves out and thinking that we were walking like way farther than we should be. And then when we made it back, we realized we'd like barely gone 2 miles. So next time we'll do the whole thing. But there was a lot of bridges going over little wetland areas, and just some of these really narrow pathways where you'd be walking through and feel just like so engulfed in the forest. So I always love hikes like that, and just having the ability to close your eyes and listen to everything around you, the leaves falling, the rain falling, hopefully no twigs cracking in the distance, but all of the peaceful nature sounds. And then speaking of twigs cracking in the distance, I indeed was well prepared for any human or wildlife interference. Obviously we passed a bunch of other hikers on the trail, but your girl listens to a lot of true crime, so I was ready for anything. We came upon kind of the end of our portion of the hike, and we're finding some really interesting fungi. I really liked these white mushrooms. I thought they were super cool. And we were talking about maybe going back and harvesting, but I know nothing about fungi really, and just know that knowing our luck, we would pick something that would not be super great. And so this is kind of the area where it got really dark in the forest, which was kind of creepy. It reminded me of that scene in Snow White where like she gets lost and all of the spooky eyeballs are poking out at her through the bushes, and then she keeps walking and she's just in this like magical forest, and that's kind of what it was like. So Ty always does forest cleanup, if that's what you could call that. So he was just taking some leaves off of the bridge there. And then we kept on walking. I want to say at this point we were probably like 1.5 miles in. So we were pretty close to the end of our portion of it, and then it looked like it could have, when I went back and looked at the map, it went on for about another mile and a half from where we had stopped. It was pretty steady the entire way through, but it also had its, pretty steep inclines and declines, and with it being so wet, we were really taking our time with walking, didn't want to slip and have anything crazy happen, so we just took our time, which was nice. And then once you make it to about that 1 mile, 1.5 mile mark, it's a river kind of lined trail. So there's this like beautiful river down there. The color was amazing. Like, it's really hard to tell in this video, but it was this super pretty misty kind of light blue, almost lime colored water. And it just looked like, sirens would be popping out of it and singing to you at any moment. And then this was my favorite portion of the entire hike. It was just like all of these trees that had fallen, and they all were really stable. trust me, I'm paranoid. I will not walk under something like this if it does not look stable. These were all very stable, and it just made this really beautiful pathway. And then Ty found a little waterfall, so naturally he had to walk up and touch something, because I don't know if you've noticed, but he's a toucher of random objects as we walk. So whether it's mushrooms, plants, or just fresh water, he wants to touch it. And then we get to the portion here. This is where we stopped. So again, we probably had another mile and a half to go, but we decided to take a break, eat our sandwich. And since it had been just drizzling all day, this was the first time on the hike that we had actually stopped and realized, wow, we're soaking wet. So we headed back. This was that half bridge that I was really a fan of, even though it was kind of scary. And then this is us back in the car, soaking wet.